Now look, guys, I know what's going on here, and I know immediately what you're thinking. Where the heck is this man's England shirt? I bet he was drinking a strayer at the pub and everything. First of all, I'm Nigerian now, innit? Get me deported. Second of all, my England kit is actually like, it's bad luck. I have decided that like every time I wear it, something negative happens. Football matches, nights out, acts of terror. The last 3 times I've worn it for an England game was the quarterfinals of the World Cup where we lost to France, and then the games where we drew against Denmark and Slovenia, so I wasn't gonna try it for the final. So it is, unfortunately, banned from all big games. Another thing that's unfortunate, getting clamped in the face with a Grey Goose vodka bottle.
Happy birthday.
Bitch. Yeah, it's 1-0 to the glass, I can't lie, but we'll try and make a late comeback. It's Grey Goose at the back stick. I'm not going to go into the long story of what's actually happened here. But basically, game ended, decided to go out with some friends. Yeah, basically, 3 dons were harassing a girl that we were out with. We stepped in, tried to defend her, and yeah, then out of nowhere, a guy from the side, didn't see him come in, bang, smashed a glass bottle, a vodka bottle over my head. At least it was an expensive one, do you know what I'm saying? Could have gone pro if it wasn't for the devastatingly deranged nose injury. Like and subscribe or my face is gonna look this ugly forever, bro. But it turns out my cheekbone would not be the only thing getting bottled that evening.
For England, the interminable wait goes on. For Spain, the glory.
England were once again the bridesmaids, the runners-up in an international tournament, becoming runners-up in back-to-back European Championships after a 2-1 defeat to Spain. It was heartbreak for the whole nation, for Southgate and co, especially after the final against Italy in 2021. But at least the trauma only lasted 90 minutes this time. Slightly less than my head injury. Oh man, I'm just depressed. It's actually just pain, innit? We're actually just never gonna win anything. Maybe football is not coming home. Maybe it's been homeless this entire time and we just didn't realise. I can't deal with this getting our hopes up and getting to a final. It was better when we were getting knocked out in the round of 16 by Iceland. As I said, no extra time needed here because Mikel Oyarzabal came off the bench for Spain to win it with 3 minutes to go. He was Spain's hero, taking advantage of some more poor defending from Kyle Walker, who's been good, well, I think was our player of the group stages along with Gettin, but then kind of since then has not been as good, and I think he was at fault for both the goals here, to be honest. He was dragged out of position for the Nico Williams opener, but honestly, multitasking for this man, look, it's hard, you know. He's got other things, other families to think about. The court case was clearly on his mind. Fuck it, arrest him again after that performance. The rest of the world absolutely loving it, by the way. Do you know how hard it is, like, from a social standpoint, to support Liverpool and England, bro? There's not a single other person on the timeline that wants me to prosper. You know what, lads? I actually thought this was the one. Only at the day of the final, by the way, because before that, we'd been shit. But after the Netherlands, actually, after the semi-final, genuinely played well. Even though Spain were very strong, for some reason, I thought maybe we could continue to shithouse our way through this. I'm talking a 0.07 XG 1-0 victory. But unfortunately, like my nose, those dreams were slashed. The dreams, though, were still there before kickoff. Anthony Joshua took to Twitter to ask whether football was coming to the yard.
Yo, my slime. I know you really don't know madam like that.
Speaking of undercover police officers, and this was a battle of the rice dishes. Declan versus Paella.
Bond the bacon, man.
I was praying to the Bukayo Saka sauce to guide us through this one. Meanwhile, Jordan Pickford was looking for other kinds of divine intervention in the tunnel. This guy's face, his facial expressions genuinely have got me in stitches. Bad choice of words under the circumstances. And that was it. With the whistle blown, it was time for the biggest game of any of these players' lives. It was time for Gareth Southgate to bring it home for the lads. But to be honest, things kind of started slowly. First half obviously ended 0-0, but it took us a long time really to grow into it. And with Bukayo Saka going down, Danny Carvajal chose the perfect opportunity to get into his head, telling him to stop crying as he was lying down on the floor. It's a shithousery award for the Real right back, and I was trying my hardest to pretend I found it funny watching in the pub. Second half starts now though, and immediately we're on the back foot. Yeah, I won't beat around the bush, we just immediately conceded straight away. Gareth Southgate's team talk must have been an act of terror. And you know who else was an act of terror during this entire tournament? Harold Kane. I genuinely have had enough. Like, this tournament has actively made me respect him less as a man. I'm telling you now, an imposter. Somebody was pretending to be him, or he was just pretending to make a living. The only big game this guy's ever turned up in is Fortnite, and I've had enough of it. Before the game in Spain's Dani Olmo, one of the players of the tournament really, was quoted as saying that he'd stopped Harry Kane from winning a trophy, obviously in the form of the Super Cup last season when RB Leipzig beat Bayern Munich, and he was out to do it again. A quote that in the end aged like fine wine, if fine wine took like 2 days to age. He said that he would trade all of his achievements in his career to win the Euro 2024 trophy. So you would trade in no trophies in order to win a trophy. This seems like an absolutely shocking deal for anybody involved.
The worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere.
Maybe if you weren't cosplaying as a defensive midfielder the entire time, you would have won a trophy by now. As I said, it means the curse continues. He could sign for Celtic, right? And St. Johnstone would go absolutely crazy for that 1 calendar year. Lamine Yamal has been born, gone through the entire education system, experienced puberty, I assume, lived a full life, and has won a trophy before Harold has in his career. He must have been walking into Spanish school the next day with a hero's welcome. It's been actual terrorism from start to finish from Harry Kane. And I know it sounds like I'm going in on him unnecessarily because I think there's other areas of the pitch and off the pitch as well where we've not been good enough. But Harry Kane is supposed to be our talisman, and factually speaking, he's one of the best strikers in the world. I'm sure Kylian Mbappe is getting the same grief from the French media at the moment because of how poor he was, relatively speaking, for France. But at least for him, he's got an excuse. The guy's wearing a Batman mask for 50% of the tournament. He has no peripheral vision. The guy can't look to his left. Harry Kane, I assume, can look to his left and probably only see the centre-backs behind him with how far he was dropping deep. Guys, I've had enough, honestly. Him coming off 60 minutes into a European Championship final is a statement. I really hope that, I mean, it depends what Ollie Watkins' form is like, but I hope he gets more of a chance to start in the next tournament, the World Cup of 2026, because I'm fed up of seeing Harry Kane make the slowest run in behind you've ever seen. Cole Palmer would come off the bench to give England hope and equalise with 15 to go, only for Mikel Oyarzabal, as I mentioned, to also, as a substitute, grab himself a goal and ultimately win Spain the tournament. Cole Palmer, again, involved in a goal. He came off the bench and got the assist against the Netherlands for the winning goal. I really would have loved to have seen him, Watkins, and a few others get a bit more game time. If we're being real, after the season he's just had, he was obviously going to bang at the Euros if he'd started a couple of games. We've got Phil Foden on the other side doing up 007 in an international tournament. I didn't even know that was possible. Anthony Gordon's highlights from the tournament were pretty minimal, to say the least. Meanwhile, for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and at least he can be unlocked from the Gareth Southgate Gaddafi prison now. The kid spent the whole tournament on the bench on Snapchat, and he'll have to pretend that he's upset when Gareth tells him that he's leaving and resigning after the tournament.
Oh no! Oh fiddlesticks!
Yep, that is correct. Gareth Southgate has decided to leave his post as England manager, pretty much like an hour or two before I'm recording this video, which, to be honest with you, I kind of expected. I almost expected him to leave kind of regardless, whether we won or whether we lost, like either go out on a high or just kind of sack it off after a second final defeat. And listen, he may not have the tactics or the man management or the attacking football or the squad selection or the game management, or for me, he lost the dressing room when he turned up in a cardigan instead of a waistcoat. You cannot lead a country to glory in something made in Zara. I think if you want my overall opinion on Gareth, I think just unfortunately too conservative at times. Seems like a lovely guy, a passionate don, and also quite actually good at building unity within a dressing room, which is something that England have struggled with for time, you know, in our so-called golden generation. The reason we didn't win anything is because all the players hated each other. That doesn't seem like the case at all with the current squad that we have, even though there are, you know, some egos, some younger players, inexperienced heads in there. It does seem like a well-balanced and well-rounded squad, which I think he's got to take a decent amount of credit for. Getting to a semi-final, then a final, then a quarter-final, then another final is better than anything we've achieved since we won the World Cup in '66. You know, and we were one penalty shootout away from beating an Italy side that had gone unbeaten for, I think, 35 games in the build-up to Euro 2020. I know they're shit now, and they immediately became shit after winning the tournament, but in the build-up to the competition, they were the most informed team out of anybody in Europe. But at the same time, tactically, he's just not good enough, especially in big games against sides that are better than us, or against sides even that are just equal to us. Spain have performed better all tournament. If you were to look at the squads on paper, I would genuinely say the squads are pretty even. I don't think Spain's centre-back partnership is that strong. Laporte, who's aged and gone to Saudi Arabia, and Lenormand. I don't think ours is particularly incredible either, obviously. We've got the likes of Foden, Cole Palmer, and Bukayo Saka, who tore it up in one of the most difficult or best leagues in the world. They've got Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, who are both exceptional, but also very young. In central midfield, they've obviously got Rodri, but he went off injured at half-time. Although his replacement, Zubimendi, was incredible when he came off the bench. And then you look at our midfield, it's the likes of Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. We play far too defensively for the type of attackers that we have. Harry Kane is not a bad striker, by the way. But he's been terrible all tournament because he's been dropping deep and feeling like he needs to. But then when he does, there's not pacey wingers on either side to actually get in behind. The whole false 9 DM striker thing only works if you've got actual pacey wingers. Bukayo Saka is quick, but not that quick. And Phil Foden isn't that type of player at all. And then we don't capitalize on moments either, you know, against Italy. Luke Shaw gives us the lead. Yes, it was 2 minutes in, but just continue to play your normal game. Don't sit back from that point onwards. You're going to concede. You can't sit back for 88 minutes. Same for this game as well. Like, we actually looked like we had momentum for about 5 minutes after scoring the equaliser, then immediately started playing it around the back and then lost the ball, and then Spain just penned us in again for the whole rest of the game. It's a great crop of players who have also let him down at times. Again, like I said, Harry Kane has not been good enough during this tournament. Phil Foden has not been good enough during this tournament. It's a shame, but I think it's probably a change that needed to be made. It's one of those be careful what you wish for scenarios, though, because the next manager has to be good. I hereby sentence you to 6 years of national team management by Graham Potter. As an English Nigerian person yet, losing 2 finals in the same calendar year. I'm a badminton fan from now on. Meanwhile, it's going to be up to the Lionesses now to let the men's squad try on their winners' medals. But look, it's massively disappointing because it feels like another big opportunity's been missed. Let's sow this one. I think this Spanish squad is better than the Italian squad that we lost to in Euro 2020. It's just frustrating because the problem that I look at is up front. I know we've got Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins as backups, and I do genuinely think Ollie Watkins is phenomenal as a playmaker, as a run maker, as a clinical finisher. I have to see him getting more game time and actually challenging Harry Kane for starting games in important matches, but he is still like 28, so obviously, yeah, cool, World Cup, he'll be fine, but beyond that, we don't have that many young strikers coming through to get really excited about right now. But anyway, regardless, speaking of youngsters, by the way, Spain, fair play to them. Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal are disgraceful. We all knew that anyway. They have been ridiculous, especially for, you know, their age. I think Nico Williams almost went a little bit under the radar because of the whole storyline of Lamine Yamal, but he was sensational and he easily looked their most dangerous player, to be honest with you. But for Lamine Yamal, I mean, wow, 17 years old and plays a crucial part in winning a European Championship. Are you crazy? He's doing his exams on the open-top bus parade. Are you mad? This guy doesn't even know what a Bunsen burner is yet. He's getting like tactical guides from an AQA foundation paper. They had to bring him off late on because it was past his bedtime. It's wild. So, Euro 2024, overall, one of the tournaments of all time. I thought it was a little bit underwhelming at times. It started off chaos, and the amount of own goals and foolishness from some of the nations was crazy, but it was mostly coming from teams that you wouldn't expect to win and that you would maybe expect to go out by the round of 16. That's kind of exactly what happened. And then in some instances, it left, like, for example, the quarterfinal stage. Just really, I think a lot of the big teams underachieved here. Really, it was only Spain and Germany that actually represented for the big nations. So I think Spain just deserved to win the tournament. I think just based off how they've played all tournament, they've beaten some very good teams along the way. I think overall very much deserving of winning it. It's a shame I ain't gonna eat tapas, I'll be so real, for like another 6 months now. But yeah, rough times. We go again, World Cup 2026. Let me know who you think should be England's next manager. Drop that down in the comments section below. But overall, Euro 2024, you were a real one. My nose without a scar in it, you were a real one. If you have enjoyed today's video, feel free to slap a like on it and subscribe if you're new. 8k likes and the merch drops. You can also follow me on social media. It is @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.